Allow me to extend a warm welcome to all the viewers on the internet and around the world. It is sunrise on YouTube, morning on Facebook, noon on Twitter, midday on Threads, afternoon on Twitch, sunset on Instagram, and evening on Rumble. I am your host, the Ancient One, the Bachelor Supreme, the Phantom Menace, he who remains, and the master of the deceptive arts. We are broadcasting live directly from the sanctum of solitude and the citadel at the end of time. To live in the solitude demands a sacrifice. In order to be a bachelor, you must lose that which you love. An everlasting exchange, a wife for a life. Now you might think that this is suffering. No, it is salvation. Good evening, everyone. I am the Ancient One. I am the Bachelor Supreme. I am the master of the deceptive arts, and I am at the citadel at the end of time. And while we are still traveling through our interactive timeline, I thought we could move forward a bit and look at what happens in the final battle of the Romance War. Well, maybe not the battle itself, but the reasons leading up to the final battle in the Romance Wars. This epic duel is often called a divorce, and in the divorce, this is where the real damage is done. What you'll be able to see on your screen is today's article entitled, "Why Women Initiate Divorce More Often Than Men." This article or journal is from divorce.com, right? In earnest, I don't really care who files for divorce. I don't care who files for it more or who files for it at all. There are many different reasons and many different types of battles, so many in the Romance Wars, but they all lead to one single outcome. They all bring you back right here to me at the citadel at the end of time, where I'll be waiting for you to return to the bachelor life. Because if you think you're not coming back here, I have some news for you. All roads lead back to the bachelor life. And knowing this, this information can seem to be inconsequential. Knowing exactly where you're going, giving you the details of the outcome of your future, right? Like I said in the previous video, this is all guaranteed. I'm just telling you what's going to happen. I'm just giving you the information about what's going to happen. And I am advising you now, as I will every day, to get a vasectomy. Because wait till you see what the future has in store for you. What this article, in truth, serves as is providing an insight into the Romance Wars, right? So it's not there to serve as a warning, right? It's just there to demonstrate with proof what is actually happening. What is the truth, right? And it shows really what is happening behind closed doors and what is happening in secret, right? So think of it like this. think of it like this. If these reasons, right, or if these are the reasons why you ended your marriage, why you ended up divorced, this means that these are the activities themselves, right? If this is the cause, then the activities are the reasons, right? So notice how no one divorces because their partner was too helpful or too supportive or too respectful, right? No one divorces because the intimacy was so frequent, so amazing, so mind-blowing, right? Rather, what they'll do is they'll give you some mysterious, ambiguous reason, right? And that is because the truth in itself is terrible. It's malicious. It's heartbreaking, and it's for the most part deliberate, right? The things that are happening in your relationship could not happen, or the things that have happened in your marriage and relationship could simply not have happened without your tacit participation. Remember, time travel isn't what you think it is. In this interactive timeline, in this interactive time traveling that we're doing, for some of you, this is what you're going through right now. For some of you, many of you, this is your future. For others, it's a memory of the past. But the outcome is always the same. And I said it once, I'll say it again. All roads lead back to the bachelor life, where I'll be waiting patiently at the end of time for the Bachelor 2.0, he who returns, right? So the article itself is actually very fair, despite the obvious leaning title, "Why Women Initiate Divorce More Than Men." Right? It shows really the reasons from both sides. So it gives a very neutral take, and then it'll show you the woman's side of things, and then later it'll show you the men's side of the divorce story, the reasons for that. That being said, I was thinking of doing this in two parts, but I then realized that despite there being two sections to this, like 70% of it is for the women's side, and the men's side is so short that I could easily fit it in at the end, considering the amount of time that we'll be spending discussing the counterparts issues. But remember, as we're discussing this, right, this is not a problem solving kind of situation. I'm not in it for that. I already know the outcome. There's no reason for me to try and solve something that I know is going to fail anyway. It is foreseen. It is foreseen. So we can be calm about the outcome, but we can still discuss what the causes are. So maybe you can see them for yourself and try and do what you can do. So I do plan to do it all at once, and we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes, right? What is interesting, though, is that in this particular article, they give two very different sets of reasons, right? So the men will have one set of reasons, and the women will have another set of reasons. Now, for the most part, I thought there would be an overlapping in similarities, and there are some, but the differences are very glaring, right? But it seems, although the both sides seem to want very different things and believe that the other person is capable of producing those things, and of course the divorce is evidence that neither one of you are willing or capable or even desiring to give the other person what they want, which in a situation where, you know, expectations are high, but the outcomes don't meet those expectations, this can lead to conflict, and it often does, right? And a divorce is often the result of a conflict, right? So, you know, this is really a conflict of outcomes, versus expectations, right? Because on the one hand, you have the men, who seem to be wanting what they describe as a willing helpmate, right? I should have looked this up. What is a helpmate? But it doesn't sound very appealing to me. I wouldn't want to be somebody's helpmate, right? But maybe I'll look it up after. I am a person who likes to know what things are, especially what they mean. So I'm going to look up the word helpmate. But if it is a self-describing word, it means indeed someone who will do the work for which I cannot or will not do. So while I'm doing what I'm doing, you will be helping, assisting me. This doesn't sound like an equal at all. It sounds like an assistant. But you must understand that the counterpart, on the other hand, is looking to be the queen of her own castle rather than being the princess in her father's castle. So she still wants the castle, right? But she wants to run things in the castle rather than to have those things being run by her father or by a man, which is really a modern day theme, right? Because they've had to answer to their dad their entire lives, and upon marriage, it seems that they have to answer to their husband. I can see the frustration. I can see the frustration. Will I resolve it? Absolutely not, but I can identify it at least. But ultimately, in truth, and this article is going to prove it, and so will reality, is that both of you are going to be tragically and bitterly, I mean bitterly disappointed. So many tears. There will be so many tears in this final battle of the romance wars, right? So many tears leading up to it, and so many more during the fight itself, right? So let's remember the numbers of this particular reality. 99% of adults will marry at least once before turning 60. So if you are 20 years old thinking that you will not be married, just look up. There are more years ahead of you than there are behind you, right? At 20 years old, when you look up at 60, that's a solid 40 years. That's twice as many years than what you've been alive. You have no idea what's coming. You have absolutely no idea what's coming, right? So 99% of you are going to get married and or have children. 75% of you will be divorced within 10 years, right? So we're looking at the perfect storm that you're heading into, and there's nothing you can do to prevent it. I'm here to tell you that unless you get that vasectomy, unless in earnest you get that vasectomy, you are not going to pull this off. You're not going to survive the storm, right? You are not going to survive this. You're going to get someone pregnant in no time at all. No time at all, right? And you're going to do it all the while praying and hoping that you don't. It's going to be hilarious. And when you do, you're going to realize that's not how prayer works, right? That's not how manifestation works. You don't do the thing for which you don't want to manifest, right? You don't go out, have intimate relations with no protection and no vasectomy if you are hoping to not have children, right? So these numbers indicate clearly that there is a reason or reasons for divorce, right? And they indicate clearly that divorce by itself is not, in fact, an anomaly, but is rather the norm, right? It is the common standard. You know, every relationship ends, and so will a divorce. It's just logic, right? And logic dictates that if 99% of people get married, right, and 75% of people divorce, that is, of course, the majority of humanity, then divorce in itself, you know, is a norm, and so too must the reasons be behind the divorce, right? So if divorce is the norm, then the reasons behind it must also be part of the design, right? So these are the things that are actually truly really happening in these marriages and in these relationships, right? These are not abnormal things. These are things that happen every single day, all the time, right? So this journal will demonstrate that actually marriage is not just a failing institution, but a fundamentally destructive one, and that the bachelor life, for which you will return to, is in fact the way to go, right? You need to follow the way of the bachelor, but that way does not come easy. It demands a sacrifice. And the real question is, what do you love? What do you love? So, while you ponder that question, let's have a look at the first slide that is already on your screen. Title is Why Women Initiate Divorce More Often Than Men. This is it says here, by the divorce.com staff. I wish you had written your name so that we could give you the credit that you so richly deserve. And it was updated in 2024. So, about last year this time, maybe a year ago, right? Depending on when you're watching the video, it could already be 2026 where you are. So, bear in mind, we are still here, right? It begins. According to divorce statistics by gender, women are more likely to initiate divorce than men in heterosexual marriages. This is already known. While divorce is associated with significant life changes, especially for women, women are still the driving force behind most marriage dissolutions, right? So, marriage, the assets combining contract between you, your spouse, and the national government of your country. So, divorce will be a dissolution of those assets, dissolving of assets, right? What exactly makes women file for divorce more often than men? This is what we will answer today. This article explores the reasons connected to societal norms. Indeed, I like that. Norms, right? So this happens all the time. Gender differences and the roles influencing motivations behind divorce initiation. Let's dive right in. Some key takeaways. Around 69% of divorces in heterosexual marriages are initiated by women. You can take that number up all the way to 80%, right? All the way to 80%. Women often feel less satisfied in marriages due to unmet emotional needs, poor communication, and lack of independence. So, just there, right there, right there. Number one, 69% chance that your wife is going to leave you, right? It says there in the stats, she's going to leave you, right? So seven out of 10 of your wives, they want to go right now, right? So just think about that. Don't think of it in terms of like something happening in the exterior of your life. No, internalize this. If you're in a relationship, 75%, 70%, sorry, not 75, 70% of the women in relationships, they want to go, or either your woman wants to leave your relationship 70% of the time. And why does she want to leave? Because you are not meeting her emotional needs. She thinks you are terrible at communication because she wants to talk more and you don't want to talk at all. And she thinks you're controlling because she's not getting any independence. So ladies, you go into this relationship, you're not going to get no independence. Men are not going to just let you do whatever the hell you want, and they're not going to be sitting down listening to you just talk, talk, talk all the time. This is what this article is telling you, right? If you translate these words and internalize them, this is what's telling you. It's telling you women want to talk and men don't want to do it, right? Women want to be emotional and men don't want to do it. Women want to go out and do whatever they want, right? She wants the independence. She wants the girls' night out. And men are like, no, I'm not paying bills for you so you can go date other men, right? This is what's happening, right? Unequal division of domestic chores and childcare responsibility, even when both partners work full time, contributes to marital dissatisfaction among women. So she doesn't want to be cleaning after you. She doesn't want to keep looking after your kids. She wants you to pick up the slack because she thinks you're not doing enough around the house. But there you are doing all the repair work, doing all the plumbing, doing the roofing, cutting the grass, trimming the trees, right? And she says you're not doing nothing unless you're helping her fold towels. So infidelity and alcohol addiction, these are two big ones, are significant factors in divorces. Women are more likely to cite their husband's affairs as a reason for divorce, and men will cite the same. This is where the correlation is, right? While alcohol abuse leads to stress and decreased marital satisfaction. So effectively what they're saying is there's a lot of infidelity in marriage, right? It's a big issue. People are not being faithful. There's a lot of substance abuse in marriage, right? People are tense, they're high strung, so they're going to reach for something. And this is happening in your home. And if you have kids where there's infidelity and alcoholism and substance abuse, I mean, this is just a problem. This is just a problem, right? You'd be better off just getting a vasectomy. But they're telling you that this is really, truly happening, right? So if you don't have the insight into what's happening in marriages, these articles are telling you that. They are reporting from within. So you don't have to go there and find out that there's infidelity in marriages because, there is. There is, right? So if you're not looking to get cheated on, I'd suggest the best way is just to not make the commitment. If you don't make the commitment, somebody can't break it, all right? Physical and emotional violence is a major cause of divorce. Yes, violence is a big deal in the home. While women being primary victims more often than men. So what are the women telling you, right? If you're a single lady, they're telling you, get into a relationship. Physical violence is a possibility. In fact, it's a likelihood, right? This is not my words. I've never been married, and I'm not going to get married. I don't need these problems. I don't need these problems, right? So they're telling you that if you go in there, someone is going to get violent, right? Do I need that? No, absolutely not, right? Do I need the infidelity in my life? Do I need an alcoholic in my life? No, absolutely not, right? And this is what you're walking into, right? This is what they're telling you. These are the key takeaways. Key takeaways. Despite short-term economic difficulties, women often experience long-term improvements in well-being after divorce. Of course you do, because you just got the car and the house and the kids and some alimony and that child support, and they made the guy pay for the lawyer fees, right? So that's what she's looking forward to, right? Her side of the deal. But it says only a small percentage of women regret their decision to divorce compared to men. Of course, for the reasons that I just meant, right? That I just made. So if he's losing his house and you're gaining a house, so surely you feel better for gaining the house. He's gonna feel miserable for all the stuff that he just lost and all those years that he just wasted, right? And look at all the things that you're looking forward to. You get married, this is going to be your life. These are the key takeaways from your marriage. So just take that in. Just take it in, you know? These are not ifs, these are guaranteed outcomes. You will not be having a violinist play music for you every time you change those diapers. Not at all. It's going to be kicking, screaming, and stinking, right? And you're going to be all alone dealing with this. You're going to be dealing with these issues, right? Just remember that these are guaranteed outcomes. Who files for divorce more in the US? A study by Michael Rosenfeld, I apologize if I mispronounced your name, from Stanford University analyzes data from the How Couples Meet and Stay Together HCMST survey encompassing responses from a diverse sample of couples. I see the ages a little bit cut off. Apologies for that. Let's proceed with confidence. The study concludes that approximately 69% of divorces are initiated by women. This comprehensive set offers robust evidence that women are more likely to initiate breakups across various relationship types, including dating, cohabitating, and married couples. So, the study concludes that approximately 69% of divorces are initiated by women, right? So, what they're telling you is in almost every relationship, it's the woman that's looking to get out, right? So I will supplement this by also adding that most marriages are in fact initiated by men, right? So it's you who bends the knee and it's you who proposes to the counterpart and she merely accepts. Now, she might insinuate, she might imply, she might even demand it, but that commitment, that sacrifice of your solitude could not be made without your tacit approval and participation, right? So while she may want out, you are the one that put it forward. And in earnest, you shouldn't have, right? You shouldn't have done that. Let's proceed. Why are spouses unhappy in marriages? Some opinions suggest that marital dissatisfaction doesn't typically happen overnight. Yes, it does. I mean, you know, the first day that you messed up. Instead, it may stem from the emotional unreadiness of both men and women to have a dependable partner. That's not true. That's not true. Men and women have had someone that they can depend on for their life, whether it's a parent, a grandparent, a relative, or someone. What they're hoping for is that they can transfer that dependency to somebody else, and that somebody else will be just as dependable as the previous person to whom set the standard of dependability. But in truth, you can't replace an old person with a new person, right? You can't replace an old person with a new person. You can only start something new. Women often feel less satisfied in relationships, which makes them more likely to initiate breakups. This lower satisfaction comes from various issues like not feeling emotionally fulfilled, poor communication, and a lack of independence in relationships. So, ladies, if you go into a relationship, you are guaranteed to not feel emotionally fulfilled. That emotional fulfillment that you're looking for, that you so deeply yearn, You're not going to find it in a relationship. That great communicator, the someone who can just sit up and talk to you all night long, doesn't have work in the morning, he's probably unemployed. All right. And if he does have work in the morning, he's not staying up talking to you. And of course, um, can't have ladies' night if you're staying in my house, right? You gotta have ladies' night in your father's house. Women usually want more emotional closeness and support. They become unhappy when they don't get it. This unhappiness often leads them to end the relationship. So, guys, your lady wants emotional closeness and support, right? Support for what? What are you doing? Are you running for president? Huh? You building a company? Support for what? Support for existing. You have to support her existence. You have to encourage her to grow even though she's not growing into anything. You just have to be there. But if you're not there, the feeling will cause unhappiness and dissatisfaction, and that's going to lead to you breaking up. Just the fact that you're not emotionally enough. Now, let me tell you something about that emotional intelligence. If you are emotional, you're going to mess it up. You're going to get it all wrong. You're not an emotional creature, right? So when you try and do it, your face, your muscles, your whole body, right? The way you sit naturally, your voice, it's going to betray you, right? When women are emotional and they cry, they have a high pitch to their voice, right? That I don't know, right? Their voice just goes differently. Listen to your voice. If you start wailing like a baby, it's gonna sound like a frog burping or a dog barking. You're gonna mess it up just by trying. Just by trying, you've already messed up. And the fact that you can't pull it off is going to give her a reason to go. And from the looks of it, she's already looking for a reason to go. And on the other side, ladies, your man's not going to pull that off. I'm telling you right now. You want that emotional connection? You're never going to get that. You're not going to get that. This is the first reason that they give here. The fact that you're not getting the emotional connection that you want, right? Another reason it says women may be unhappy in marriage is that their relationship wasn't satisfying enough from the start. I agree. So why did they marry then? Social pressure is often the answer. Oh, now listen to that. She didn't actually want to get married. She just did it out of the fear of missing out. A friend of hers got married, another one got married and had kids, and she was the only one not doing anything. So she just like thought, let me just do it. Let me just find someone who's gonna marry me. You know, all my friends are married, my sisters are married, my cousins are married. I'm the only one that's not getting married, right? So she goes and she finds someone to marry her. And, 10 years later, she realizes, she didn't do this for herself. She didn't even do it because she liked the guy. She did it because somebody else was doing it and she didn't want to look bad. This is the truth. People get married because they don't want to look bad. Imagine all that money down the drain just to try and make yourself look good. On the other hand, men usually feel more satisfied in a relationship. This might be because they have different emotional needs or are taught to stay in relationships longer. No, because the guys, they date who they want, right? A guy is going to marry the woman he wants. So if you are the woman that the guy wants to marry, he's going to marry you. Whereas you are marrying because somebody else is getting married, right? Social pressure. You're getting married for social pressure, and the guy is actually getting married to the person he likes. Can you imagine what that's going to look like? Right? I actually like you and you didn't even like me to begin with. You're just there because your sister got married and you didn't want to be the odd one out. Social pressure. That's what social pressure means. The fear of missing out. All right? Because men are generally happier, they start breakups less often, right? That stands to reason. That makes some sense. It makes sense to me, this article, especially the part that men will initiate divorce less often because you're probably dating somebody that you actually do like. You're not going to ask out someone that you don't find attractive or pay dates for someone that you don't find attractive. So effectively, you're not going to, throw away that investment, right? You're gonna want to see it through. It says here, where are we? What percentage of divorces are initiated by men? Men initiate a less significant portion of divorces. About 29% to 30% of husbands file for divorce, according to surveys. Of course, right? Because you actually married somebody that you found attractive. Because this is how men are, right? You see the person you're attracted to and you go for them, right? It never occurs to you that by her agreeing to date you, she might just be dating you because somebody else is dating somebody and she doesn't want to be the one not dating anyone, right? Social pressure or for the fear of missing out. This is very insightful stuff, right? Since the remaining two-thirds of divorce filings come from women, it's safe to say that men are more satisfied in marriages. This explains a lot. This explains a lot. This is why they say divorces are contagious, right? Because your wife will divorce you because she saw somebody else getting divorced and she sees that person exhibiting some of the things that she wish she could have, right? So she might have the house that she still lives in because your wife doesn't want to move, but she might not have the husband to so-called answer to, right? Because she answered to her dad. Now she's answering to her husband. Now she doesn't want that, but she still wants the quality of life. So someone might convince her that this is true without actually hearing the details. And because of social pressure and the fear of missing out on that new singleness feeling, right? She's gonna blow everything up, and obviously she's gonna regret that, or she's gonna regret that. Marriage brings about several benefits for married men compared to their unmarried peers. Oh, wait for these lies. In particular, marriage is linked to a range of positive health effects for men. This is a contradiction, right? You saw the reasons that they gave for all the divorces, and they're going to give the same reasons or a different set of reasons for men for divorces. But they're telling you here that marriage benefits you. I'm here to tell you that if you can accept and settle into your bachelor life, you'll be so much better. In truth, what they do is they are comparing older men to younger men. They're not comparing a lifelong bachelor at 45, 46, 50 years old to a married or divorced man at the same age. They're saying married men are healthier. In other words, older men are healthier than younger men, right? Because most bachelors are under 25. And over 25, they either are married or have children, right? In particular, marriage is linked to a range of positive health effects for men. It enhances mental health. What? Reduces the risk of depression. Unbelievable. And improves cognitive function. So getting married makes you smarter, right? Getting married makes you happier. Fighting over towels and teaspoons makes you happier. Then why do so many married men sign those divorce papers, right? Why are they so? They just sign and move on. Moreover, married men have a lower risk of Alzheimer's disease, better blood sugar levels, and better outcomes during hospitalization. Married men are obese. Like married men are fat. This is something that people aren't talking about, right? lower risk of Alzheimer's disease, better blood sugar levels, and better outcomes in hospitalizations. Okay, how? How is this true if all the bachelors are under 25 and all the older men? I mean, these diseases are all associated with older men, right? These blood pressure, right? Blood sugar levels, Alzheimer's disease, these are not issues for young men. And if a young man is in hospital, it's because he done something, car accident or something dumb that he shouldn't have done. But he's not going to hospital for a heart attack. I don't know. Let's continue. Married men also live 2.2 years longer than unmarried ones. Now we're comparing men who die within families and divorced men, right? Because we're talking about older men now, right? We're not expecting a 21-year-old to suddenly have a heart attack. So, of the older men, right? If you are divorced, remember 99% of society is getting married or having kids. So we're talking only about married and divorced men. So if you are unmarried at a certain age, it means you're divorced. Right, it doesn't mean you've been a bachelor all the way through. Look at the Catholic Church, for instance, an institution run by bachelors. All those men are in their 80s and 90s, far surpassing the ages of most married men. All right. Possible reasons for this may be that their wives often help them stay healthy by encouraging healthy eating habits and offering chances to make healthy choices. No. Married men are fat. Look at those stomachs. Go out into the world and look at the stomach of a married man. You're not going to see flat abs. You're not going to see abs on that man. No way. No way. Married men may eat better or more, visit doctors more often. I'll agree that they'll visit the doctor more often and take medicine as prescribed, which may be due to the influence of their wives. Again, we're talking about older men, right? As a bachelor, I do all these things. You know what I mean? I see the doctor every year for a full body checkup. I go to the dentist every ever so often. I'll go get my eyes tested, right? I wear spectacles, right, for my reading, so I'll get my eyes tested, right? I'll do all these things without the need of a wife, right? But if you have a wife already, if you got married at 26, 27, if you got married at 33, and you have a wife already, right, then sure, okay, fine, right? She'll tell you go see the doctor. But as a bachelor, as soon as I get sick, I don't need someone telling me to go see the doctor. I'll decide. I'll say, you know what? I'll go tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow in the evening. I'll go to the doctor, right? The reason you're having your counterpart telling you when to go to the doctor and when not to go to the doctor is because of exactly that, right? You'll say, I want to go to the doctor tomorrow after work, and she'll say, no, you have to come and do what I want to do tomorrow after work. You have to go the next day, which is not the same thing, right? Because there's a reason why they're telling you where you can go and where you can't go, because they're controlling your time. Me, I decide when I go for myself, and I always go, right? It's just a sign of maturity, right? Taking care of yourself. It's just a sign of maturity. And you get there. You don't need a wife to get mature. You can become mature. You just need to grow up. Even when both men and women have full-time jobs, women typically have more childcare and household chore responsibilities. You see, this is when they list just all of their duties. Women don't make repairs around the house. They're not mowing the lawn. They're not doing the landscaping, right? They're not doing the plumbing. They're not doing the roofing. They're not cleaning the gutters, the drains, taking out the trash, right? Walking the dog. They're not doing those things. They're not doing the windows. They're not painting the walls. They're not fixing the foundation. They're not tiling it. They're not fixing the hinges on the doors, replacing the handles, They're not doing any of those things. What they're doing is they're counting up all the things that they do and not counting any of the things that the man does. When in fact, the man will do all of his duties and still do 50% of the wife's duties. This is something that is completely not mentioned. And this is something that you have to look forward to. First, you have to look forward to somebody controlling your time or somebody doing something at the time where you have something else. So there's always going to be a conflict of schedule, right? And somebody getting sick at the wrong time, right? And then there's always a dispute about cleaning, right? So, and even if you help her do the things, she's still gonna say you gotta do more. Why? Because she wants to be the queen in her own castle, right? So somebody's got to be the servant, right? Usually, this workload is unequally distributed. I agree. Men do so much more around the house, leading women to experience more significant fatigue than men. So, what they're telling you is the little bit that she does, she's not coping with that, right? She can't cope with the towels and the teaspoons. So when you're done mowing the lawn and doing, trimming the hedges and cleaning the gutters and the drains and walking the dog, right? And fixing the cars and getting the car washed and making sure that it's serviced and making sure that the windows aren't broken and the tires are fine and it's got fuel and it's serviced and detailed and everything is ready to go. When you're done with that, then you gotta come help her because she's gonna think you're not doing anything. In fact, she thinks the things that you are doing, they call those things leisure activities. They think that mowing the lawn and cleaning the pool is fun, right? But I mean, they won't do it themselves, but that's what they consider it, leisure activities. If there are problems in the marriage, men are less motivated to leave because the alternative usually means a decrease in lifestyle satisfaction. What they call lifestyle satisfaction is you losing your house, your car, your kids, your pension, your income, paying alimony, paying lawyer fees, paying extra taxes, paying child support, and so on and so forth. They call that a decrease in lifestyle satisfaction. How mild. Men are also more likely to remain separated than initiate a divorce proceeding, even if the relationship is in trouble. So men would rather get separated than initiate divorce because separation means you don't have to pay anything. Divorce means you have to pay everything. So here we go. The reasons why women initiate divorce. There are several key reasons why women are likely to file for or begin a divorce. One, unmet needs. These are usually emotional needs. Two, deficient life work balance. So she's working too hard. She didn't get married to work this hard, right? She has to work all day and then come back and work all night, and then sleep and then do it all over again, right? So she doesn't want to work. That's what that says. And the statistics bear that out. Only 16% of women are actually what they call the breadwinners in their home. That's nothing. 16%, that means most women are either contributing a little bit or the man is paying all the bills, right? But there's no situation where the woman is paying all the bills. Even in what they call egalitarian relationships or marriages, where they pay almost 15%, almost equal. What they mean by almost equal is that the man will pay 70% of the bills and the woman may or may not contribute 30%. So there's no such thing, right? They don't want to work. They don't want to pay bills, right? Husband's unfaithfulness, alcohol addiction is the next one, physical and emotional violence, better support system, and lastly, fewer regrets. So let's have a look at what each of one of those actually really means. What are unmet needs? It says here, to some extent, men and women are wired differently, and women may find that this leaves some of their expectations unmet. Oh, so she thought she was going to be the queen, right? The last thing she expected was to have to clean toilets all day long and wipe bums and take out trash all day, every day, 18 to 20 years, right? Men may be less attentive to nuance and hints. Body language. I keep telling you about this body language, man. It's not a thing, right? How am I supposed to know that what you're looking at is, when you're looking at me and you're looking at something else, that's flirting? You're staring at the wall. How am I supposed to know that staring at the wall means you're flirting? I can't. Like, I don't have the patience for this. Like, talk, use words. What do you want? I want, and then fill in the blank, right? They have different ways of absorbing and processing information according to scientific research. Well, you know what? Now that I asked for talking, I changed my mind, because that's just gonna make things worse. Women are usually socialized to be more emotionally intelligent than men. What does that mean? Emotionally intelligent. What does that mean? You use gestures and growls to express yourself. You don't even use words, and when you do, nobody understands. Right? So this is what they're telling you. When you're in a relationship, ladies, those quick footsteps, nobody knows what that means. That hair flip, nobody knows what you're doing. We still don't even understand why people do the popular female dance, which I'm not gonna name it, right? I don't want to get banned, but you know which one. Every time they score a goal, they do it. Every time they get a degree, they do it. Every time somebody asks them for their phone number, they do it. You know which dance I'm talking about? What does that even mean? Nobody knows what that means. Even in the future, they look back at this time and they're like, what are they talking about? And you find out they're not actually talking, right? Women are also, where was I? Emotional intelligence. Let's continue. And so they are more likely to perceive problems in their relationship. Yeah, that's true. They're the ones looking for the problems, right? Women are also better communicators than men, I disagree, and are more likely to talk about their problems they perceive. No, no. To be a good communicator, you must be effective and efficient with your words. So people need to quickly understand the point of which you are discussing, right? And then understand that you are elaborating on that point. But you can't use gestures and innuendos, physical innuendos, and expect to be understood. No. But this is what this is what you can expect, right? You can expect gestures and innuendo that you don't understand. And if you don't, it will be seen as unmet needs. This is your future. This is your future, right? Because men are less likely to have the emotional intelligence to see the problems and the communication skills to talk about them, this can lead to women feeling as if their needs are not being met in the relationship. It says Brett Samba. This is just an expression of self, right? Because men are less likely to have emotional intelligence. I don't even know what that is. To see the problems and the communication skills to talk about them. So if you see something, if she sees something and identifies that thing as a danger and a threat, and you quickly assess the situation and tell her that it's nothing, right? Remember, these are people that are scared of mice, right? If she sees a mouse and identifies that mouse as a danger, as a threat, and you look at that mouse and say, it's nothing, just leave it, it'll go away. And 5 seconds later, the mouse goes away. You are then not effectively communicating the problem, which is absurd, which is absolutely absurd, right? She says something is a problem, you don't see it as a problem, now there's a communication issue. And is it really a problem? Or is it a problem just because she says it's a problem? Now you have to discuss the mouse in terms of it being an actual danger, even though, quite frankly, it's not. Man, this is frustrating. This is going to be frustrating. This is your future, right? This is what you have to look forward to. And I promise you, you're going to be so miserable. You're going to be so miserable when you have to deal with all this. Trying to talk and understand to somebody who doesn't even understand what they're talking about. And ladies, I'm going to tell you something. Men aren't going to understand you. You're going to be talking in half sentences and emotive language. You're going to be talking like you're asking a question. You know when you're at the mall, that's how you guys do it. You say the mall, right? You pitch up the word right at the end, mall, right? And it sounds like you're asking a question, but you're actually making a statement. There comes a point where that gets really annoying and we just block it out, right? Because you're now not even clear in your own tone, right? And I'm telling you, he's going to block you out. He's absolutely you're going to be talking about something and he's going to register it and he's going to be like, oh, not this again. And you're going to be blocked out. Just for him to listen to you and realize that he was right to block you out, right? And now both of you are frustrated. Like this is what happens in relationships all the time. This is your future. Be prepared. Be prepared. The primary emotional and physical needs that may be neglected in marriage and cause negativity are the following, right? So these are the needs that you are not meeting as a man. And ladies, these are the needs that your man is not going to meet if these things actually mean anything to you. Recognizing and valuing the work done at home and a day job. So she's bringing in a maximum of 30% or she's paying only 30% of the time. You need to value that, right? She needs to feel like she's killing it, even though she's not, right? And you're only going to get 16% of the time where she pays all the bills, which effectively means never. Affection and physical contact. Okay, this one is going to be a contradiction, right? She's saying here that she's not getting real affection and physical contact. But in the later section, you're going to see that the men have the same complaint. They're saying they're getting no intimacy in their relationship. And this is the reason that they divorce. So they're telling you, you're not getting no affection. You will not get any affection in your relationship, ladies. If you're looking for affection and that tender physical contact, you can forget about it. Companionship and support out the window. You will have no companionship. You will have no support. It is the romance wars. And these are the reasons why that war happens. Because there is no companionship and there is no support. The irony. Isn't that what you came in for? The irony. Family commitment. No family commitment. Think about your own family. You argue with those people all the time. Assisting with household duties. This one keeps coming up. Man, they hate that housework. They hate that housework. They keep bringing it up all the time. You know? Don't want to be ironing shirts. Don't want to be making sandwiches. No sandwiches for you, man. Right? Honesty and openness. Ooh, that means you're getting lies and secrecy. Right? Honesty and openness means you're getting lies and secrecy. So, isn't it interesting reading it from this point of view? In terms of this is what you're going to get in relationships? These are not the anomaly, right? These are things that happen all the time. You know, no assistant with those household duties, no financial support. I skipped that financial support. So you're not getting financial support. Ooh, you're not getting any money, ladies. You thought you were getting in it for the money. Have you ever seen what moms look like in those jeans or those 5-day pajamas? Do those people look like they get financial support? Mm-mm. No financial support for you. Leaving these needs chronically unmet leads to growing marital dissatisfaction and eventual divorce in 64% of cases. So just remember, there's no companionship. There's no love for you, right? This is just a catalog of the catastrophe that you're going to be walking into when you get into a relationship and into a marriage. Fantastic. Deficient life work balance. Married women often juggle multiple responsibilities, such as caring for children and doing housework while working 9 to 5 jobs. So, ladies, keep this in mind. This is your future too. So you're going to be juggling multiple responsibilities. You're going to be doing the child work, you're going to be doing the housework while you have to work a full-time 9 to 5 job. This is your future. The percentage of women who earn as much or as substantially more than their husbands has increased nearly threefold. That's right, from 5 to 15%, which is nothing. Men, you're still paying those bills, but they're going to keep reminding you that she's strong and independent. Just imagine hearing that song every day. It says nearly threefold in the last half century, 50 years. In about 29% of present day marriages, spouses earn approximately the same income, while in 16% of them, women earn nearly more. So, that 29%, that's the egalitarian relationship where the man is still paying 70% of the bills, right? So, that tells you everything, guys. You are looking to pay about 30%, 70% of the bills. And your women, ladies, you are going to be juggling multiple responsibilities. Oh, I hope you're looking forward to that. I hope you're looking forward to that. Women who earn 38,000 or more than their husbands have a 8.4% chance of divorce compared to couples where the husbands earn more who have only a 2.9% chance of divorce. Now listen to that, right? Of the 16% that pay the bills in the home, 8.4%, almost half of them, are going to get divorced, right? So, or rather, they have an 8.4 chance of getting divorced, which is considerably higher than in a situation where the man pays the bills. So, if you pay the bills, you're going to be miserable, but you're going to pay the bills and you might last longer. But if she makes more money than you, your marriage is doomed. You're not going to make it, right? This is just an indication that women, they don't want to pay bills, right? And they definitely don't want to pay bills for a man. So, ladies, those of you that are going to pay bills for a man, just be prepared to pay that alimony too. One study found that the greater gap by which a wife's income outpaces her husband's, the less he does around the house. Interesting. So the greater the gap by which the wife's income outpaces her husband, the less he does around the house, despite the fact that women are still expected to do the most domestic chores in the marriages. This is true, right? I mean, I'm not speaking for myself, but in most cases, I find that the men are expecting that the women will be more domesticated, at least in terms of the chores, or at least be willing to do more or the most of the domesticated chores. I'm not sure how that's going to play out. This equal division can make them feel less stressed because, this unequal division can make them feel stressed because they must balance their jobs and care for the family. Remember, she's a princess, so she's never done this before, right? She's never had to care for the family and the home and do a full time job all at the same time, right? Her father did all that. Additionally, the presence of a husband can add more housework. So now she got to clean off the kids and clean after you too. But in all fairness, you got to pay bills for her, for yourself, and those kids too. So, but apparently that's not a fair exchange. Apparently, it's not seen that way. When you cut the lawn, it's like you're cutting it for yourself. Research shows that divorced women with children sleep and rest more than those with a male partner. That's interesting. So, when the man isn't in the house, she just sits around and does nothing all day, right? They do 3 hours less housework and sleep an hour longer per week. So, you're the driving engine of this. So, the guys are up and saying, go, 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 and all she wants to do is go to brunch. Interesting. Right. So, ladies, if you want to get more sleep, it says here you're not going to get any sleep with a male partner. I assume this is the same for men too. Not much sleeping, not many naps when the wife is around. In addition, working women trying to succeed in their careers do not always receive their husband's support regarding childcare and domestic chores. Yeah, I mean, who's going to look after these kids, right? With these pressures, it's unsurprising that women conclude that saying married is no longer that staying married is no longer in their best interest. I can see how that can be true, right? I'm not ever getting married and I could care less about the institution, but looking at what you have to look forward to, right? Unequal division of labor, stress, no sleep. I mean, there's no wonder you want to file for divorce. Now, I'm not saying you should, I'm just saying it happens all the time. And this article is telling you why. This is your future. This is a very common one. Husband's unfaithfulness, so a lot of cheating, lots of infidelity. I think that these numbers are grossly underreported. I think there's way more infidelity than what has been reported. But it says here, husband's unfaithfulness in a survey on reasons for divorce involving 212 women and 189 men. 35% of the women cited their husband's affair as the primary reason for their divorce. So the affair was the primary reason for the divorce. And in many cases, it's just one of the reasons, right? So it could be physical violence and an affair. Typically, men are more prone to infidelity than women, specifically 20% of men compared to 13% of women. These numbers are not true. Men and women cheat at exactly the same rate. In fact, some would argue that women have more opportunities to cheat, but that's neither here nor there. I would say it's more or less the same. If you cheat on someone, they're just going to cheat on you too. Reported having had sexual relations with someone other than their spouse while married. So 20% of men and 13% of women reported, right? This isn't always true. Cheating, whether physical or emotional, is seen as one of the most significant trust breaches in a marriage. I'm going to tell you, if you don't want to get cheated on, the best way to not get cheated on is to just not give up your commitment. If you give somebody your commitment, you're just giving them an opportunity to break it. Infidelity can severely damage relationships, particularly already fragile ones, and lead to their downfall. Also, the response to infidelity varies among couples. Some may break up over a single instance of adultery, while others experience repeated affairs before filing for divorce. So, you're going to be cheated on many times. This goes both ways for men and women. The longer you're married, the more likely that you are to be cheated on, according to Brett Samba. If a wife decides to withdraw from the marriage emotionally, she will likely detach her failed relationship detached from her failed relationship long before officially initiating divorce. So she'll want to go, right? And she'll just stick around because, who else is going to pay those bills in earnest? And where's she going to go, right? She's going to leave what to go be with her boyfriend who's broke and unemployed? Probably not. She's just going to cheat. Um, and men are the same. Men are the same. They'll just cheat and stay married, right? Terrible, man. Why get married then? In such cases, no effort of the other spouse to reconcile will have any effect. So once you cheat, for most people, that's it. That's the end of the relationship. And I'm one of those people. Like once I suspect or sense infidelity, I don't stick around. I don't even stick around to find the proof. I mean, I'm a vasectomite. I just stick around for as long as I'm comfortable. And the minute I'm uncomfortable, I leave. You know, um, why bother? Why waste my time? The next thing you can expect to experience in your marriage is alcohol addiction or the effects of alcohol addiction. So you might not be an alcoholic or a person who consumes illicit substances, but this doesn't mean that your counterpart doesn't. According to the 2001 NSDUH report, I don't know what that acronym means, 16.3 million men 18 years or older said that they had a problem drinking too much alcohol in the past year. 16.3 million people over the age of 18 have an alcohol problem. You're probably going to get married to one of them, or both of you are going to get married with an alcohol problem. In comparison, 12.4 million, 16.4 million men and 12.4 million women in the same age group experience issues with alcohol. So, what's that? 29 million people? That's 29 million people. That's almost 30 million people have an alcohol problem. And you're probably going to get married to one of them, right? And you're going to experience the problem with the alcohol itself, and the people with which they had a problem when they had a problem with alcohol. So her past will come back to you. It always does. Research published in the Clinical Psychology Review investigated the impact of alcohol addiction on marriages. Catastrophe. The study indicated that marriages were less happy when one spouse experienced alcohol problems, such as excessive drinking. Right, so if your partner drinks and you don't, that's a problem. For the person who doesn't drink, I can tell you honestly, that's going to be a problem. Because they're going to be breaking things and doing things and wanting to dance at absolutely the worst possible time. And if you don't dance with them, you're the problem, right? Another study found that if one spouse is a heavy drinker, the marriage is 50% more likely to end in divorce. I agree. A different study compared alcohol consumption in various countries and found that an increase in 1 liter of alcohol consumption per person in the country on average is linked to a 20% increase in divorce for that country. Wow, so if you increase 1 liter of alcohol per year, that increases the chances overall by 20% of getting divorced. So, alcohol is in your marriage, it's going to be catastrophic. Oh, there's so many fights, so many arguments over absolutely nothing, right? And you won't even know that you're doing it. That's the problem with alcohol. You don't even know what you're doing half the time. A different study compared alcohol consumption in various countries and found that an increase in 1 liter of alcohol consumption per person in the country on average is linked to 20% increase in divorce for that country. I literally just read that. In particular, stress arising from alcohol problems led to a decline in marital satisfaction. True. Alcoholism harms trust in relationships, damages communication, and affects the standard of living for families. Yeah, it's going to destroy you. Not only to mention that alcohol is expensive. So whatever you're spending on alcohol, you're not spending on other things. People with alcohol problems, including health problems, may lose their jobs and inflict financial issues, right? There's also that, right? You could go to prison for driving under the influence and other dangers that are involved with alcohol, or you could just be unproductive, right? And that'll destroy your chances at work too. Alcohol abuse is also connected to accidents and injuries, as I've just mentioned. Brett Samba, JD. Since men are more likely to experience alcohol addiction or be heavy drinkers than women, it makes sense that this is a common reason for women to seek divorce. So, what is this telling you, ladies? You are more likely to be involved with somebody who consumes a heavy amount of alcohol, and you're going to have to deal with everything that comes with that, right? So this is really the future for what's waiting for you, ladies, in these relationships that you love so much. You're going to be married to an alcoholic. I hope you know what you're doing. I really hope you're ready for this. Like, there's the idea of it, and then there's the reality, and then there's the smell. You know, when you smell something, it tells you that it's real. It's right there. It's not just an idea, it's in your home now. Along with alcohol and substance abuse, you can always be sure there'll be physical violence. Like, if it's not a common occurrence, it's bound to happen at least once or twice. So the next reason, ladies, that you can, or the next thing that you can expect in your relationships is a physically and emotionally violent and abusive person. Not just imagine that. Now they're an alcoholic. You're doing all the housework. You're paying some of the bills, and now physical violence. A survey on common reasons for divorce published in the National Library of Medicine states that 24% of divorces are caused by domestic abuse. So one in four of you, one in four of you is gonna get it. Ladies, you are going to get beaten. If you're in a relationship, now I'm not saying I want this. I'm not wishing this upon you. I'm just saying one in four of you is going to take a beating in a relationship. This is after all the romance wars. This is what's waiting for you. And men, don't do it, man. Just get a vasectomy and leave, right? But violence is going to happen in your relationship, right? And women are the primary victims more often than men. There is a reason to indicate that the victim is often the instigator, but this is not an indication of change, right? It's not to say that if you act differently, things will turn out differently. I can't say how things will turn out. All I can say is that these statistics are telling you that between you and your friends, if there's four of you, one of you is getting beaten, right? For every three women in the United States, one has experienced physical violence from an intimate partner. Okay, so it's not one in four, it's one in three. And one in seven women has been seriously injured, according to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence report. So, one in three is going to have a fight, and one in seven is going to be a serious injury. So, you can expect blood. You can expect blood. In comparison, only 1 in 25 men have been hurt by a partner. I suppose these are the ones where they used a weapon, right? These are the ones where they used a weapon. But look at these statistics. So you're telling me one out of every 25 women can beat a man, or is going to beat a man, or is going to hurt their partner in some way. But I'm sure in that altercation, they're probably also getting hurt severely, right? That's 1 in 25. That's nothing. I'll happily face those odds, right? Compared to 1 in 3 of you is getting it, whereas all the men, none of us are getting it. Ladies, this is your future. This is what you want, right? This is just the first step. This is the causes of divorce. This is what's happening in the marriage before you leave. And if you don't leave, it's going to keep happening. Men, get a vasectomy and don't get married. Don't put yourself in this situation, man. Don't put yourself in this situation. But again, this is a guaranteed outcome. 99% of you are going to be married by the time you're 60. You are going to experience all of this within 10 years and then call it quits, right? So brace yourself. Brace yourself. The worst is yet to come. So, as I alluded to in the beginning of this composition, this will be the last slide for the day. So, we're just looking today at what the ladies can experience in relationship, which is staggering. I was hoping to be able to do also the men, but I've gone way over time. And there are still so many more slides. So this one will be the last one. Just a small taste of what ladies can experience in relationships. And then we'll do the men, right? Then we'll do what the men can experience and put it all together. It says here, women file for divorce because they have a better support system. What does that mean? Women are more likely to have a robust support system, to have a robust support system than men. So she has more friends. She has more people that she can call to in case you do something. And ladies, you're going to need a lot of friends to come help you in case he does something, right? So just imagine you have to amass an army just to be in this relationship. So they are more likely to talk to friends and family about their relationship and have more help if they divorce. So they'll have everyone lined up against you when the divorce comes, right? So you got to be ready for that, man. You got to have your own circle of friends to support you that she doesn't know about, right? You got to keep your friends on the one side, you got to keep your friends and her friends on the other side. Then you might want to have a group of friends. But what you want to actually do is you want to be friends with all of her friends and make sure she's not friends with none of yours. So you can keep your support structure strong and on your side, right? And all they have is your side of the story, and they only know what she did. And then you want to go in her group of friends and you want to have your own circle of influence, right? Ladies, you want to do the same. You want to get in on that group of friends and make sure that they're on your side. This is a war, after all. This is a war. Otherwise, you saw what can happen: physical and emotional abuse, right? So, just make sure they have a circle of support to help them through their transition. It is also worth noting that divorce is contagious. If a close friend divorces, a person's chance of divorce goes up 75%, right? This is what I said about social influence, right? If her friends get married, she wants to get married. If her friends get divorced, she wants out of this divorce. But she's not going to do it herself unless she knows that there's somebody who's going to be divorced with her, right? So she doesn't want to be divorced by herself. So she doesn't want to be the one that's divorced and everybody else stays married for 20 years, right? Because then what she's going to have to do is get married again. But if she divorces, then she's going to probably want to influence somebody else to join her so she's not alone. Somebody of her own age. So, yeah, if one of your wife's friends gets divorced, you're next. Women have more close friendships, and divorce becomes more likely if friends are divorcing. Just remember that. Fewer regrets. Divorce plays out in two ways for women. First, despite changes in laws, women are still more likely to get primary custody after divorce, so she keeps the kids. Thus, women feel more confident that they will be the primary parent after divorce. She will. However, women also experience detrimental economic effects from divorce, so nobody's paying those bills anymore, right? So you have kids, your expenses are still the same, but the income isn't the same, right? So you're not paying just 30% anymore. You're up to three times what you need to pay, right? Especially in the short term when compared to men. However, their long-term well-being increases after divorce, and only 27% of women report that they regret getting a divorce compared to 39% of men. This stands to reason. I mean, if you lose all your stuff, more men are going to regret getting divorced. But still, what you're looking at here is 73% of women regret their divorce. So, despite all the things that are happening, when you leave the marriage, it gets even worse. Oh, that's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. So, you're miserable if you stay, and you're going to be miserable when you leave. Wow. Just don't get married. Get a vasectomy, guys. Get a vasectomy. Women may be better able to predict their long-term happiness and choose divorce when they see a better future. So she's hoping to see a better future, but we know that 73% of them are not going to get that better future. This is what they're telling you. They're just trying to end it on a positive note, but there's no positive spin to this, right? This is hope. Hope. But right before they give you hope, they tell you 73% of you are gonna cry. You're gonna be back, right? 73% you're gonna be back because you're not gonna find another guy who's gonna take care of those kids. You're not gonna find another guy to pay those bills, to pay that car, to mow that lawn, to clean those gutters for you. And the guy that did it, he's not gonna do it again. He's gonna realize, man, that first time that wasn't worth it. So he's not gonna do it again. So ladies, this is your future. This is what you can expect when your romance war truly begins, when the final battle of the romance war begins. This is what's gonna happen to you. And men, tomorrow is your turn. We'll see exactly how it plays out for you. It is going to be a catastrophe. I can't wait to tell you what you're getting in marriage and what you're not going to get. I can't wait to tell the men what they're not going to get. Ladies, you've seen your future. Meditate upon it. I wish you the best. Men, get a vasectomy. You don't want to be the man that I've described in this video. You don't want to be that guy trying to hold alpha masculinity, trying to maintain a dead philosophy. You don't want to be that guy. Get a vasectomy. Protect your seed, protect your solitude, protect your commitment, and protect yourself. This is the Ancient One. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your time. I always appreciate it. Get a vasectomy and have a nice day.